York. Mr. Williams for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to discuss the continually rising energy costs that are burdening hardworking Americans today, especially in my district in central New York. Just last month, our primary electricity provider, National Grid, announced that it will be seeking major rate increases for electricity and natural gas. Their proposal would add approximately $440 a year to the bill for a typical central New York household that is using both electricity and gas. This increase in rates demonstrates the pressing need for America to reassess its energy investment strategy. And it's clear that the bill is coming due for expensive and unrealistic progressive energy policies, and that is placing a burden directly on the middle class and elderly ratepayers, as I just mentioned. The cost of expensive renewable projects, canceled gas pipelines, and prematurely closed nuclear power plants in New York State, as well as on the back of the electrification mandates, these are failing average Americans. And in particular, they're impacting the 65% or so of Americans that live paycheck to paycheck. And I speak today on their behalf. Can you explain the cause for these rising energy prices for my constituents, please?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question and the focus on affordability. There's not a topic that's more important to me personally.
Anything about the causes? That would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, so any constituent of yours, our shared constituents who are paying too much for energy is one constituent too much. What we're actually seeing is the historic investments we made in clean energy are actually having a decrease in prices across our country. In fact,
wait just a minute. National Grid just asked for a historic increase as you've rolled out renewable. Let me finish, please.
Yep, please.
As you've rolled out historical mandates for renewable energies in New York State. So I'm afraid the facts really do not match with the talking points. For example, your department has said that we need at least 200 gigawatts in additional new power generation by 2030 to replace aging growth or aging infrastructure and expected growth. I suspect that number is even higher today with AI. One of the requirements for renewable energy is that it has energy storage attached to it to be reliable and both a significant contributor to energy on the grid. Is there currently a grid-scale energy storage solution that is both technically and economically feasible today? Yes or no?
A number of parts of the country are adding storage, whether it's lithium batteries or pumped hydro, and it's an incredibly important part of the solution.
And you're saying that those are both technically and economically viable today?
That's right. That's why
the director of the National Science Foundation testified here just a few weeks ago that there, in fact, was no such solution, and there likely wouldn't be for 10 years. And that happens to be a fact consistent with my own analysis and investigation. So are you refuting the director of the National Science Foundation?
Happy to talk numbers and happy to talk facts. What we're actually looking at from our own independent, and this is not a politically run part of our department, our own independent EIA, Energy Information Administration, is actually we're going to see a slight drop in electricity prices by the end of 2024. So there may be parts of the country that are experiencing some increase.
This is after the historic increase that's being requested. That's when the price drops happen after the historic increase. It's a little disingenuous, I think.
We did have an increase because of COVID and when Russia invaded Ukraine.
So this is your answer to my previous question. This is the cause of rising energy costs is COVID? Is that right? Is that your answer, sir? I'm really, my constituents want answers to these questions. They don't want talking points. You didn't answer the question of why energy costs have risen. You've said now that they rose because of COVID, an answer you didn't provide earlier. And then you said that prices are going to drop right after these historic increases. That is cold comfort, and I mean that literally in upstate New York, because it is cold up there in the winter. That's cold comfort to the ratepayers in my district. And I don't hear real answers. I only hear political answers, and that's frustrating.
So, again, you got to look at cause and effect. Because of the president's leadership, because of the congressional legislation, the extraordinary legislation, we're going to have $38 billion across our country in savings for folks on electricity bills. We're already starting to
Not
see
in my
that work
district.
its
They're going to
way.
have $440 more per
And
year.
that's where I said we've got
And
to have.
they will have this
Gentlemen,
administration to thank
time
for
has
it. I yield
expired.
back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now